This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast featuring Colteastwood, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the XNC Podcast live. How you doing? This is Colteastwood. Welcome to the channel. I'm very excited to be here. It's going to be a crazy, crazy day. I was gathering topics for this show, for the XNC Podcast, and just when I thought I had everything buttoned down, we had some big news break, and things are pretty exciting, and I'm here with a couple of great people in the community, kind of famous people. We've got Stallion83. How you doing, Stallion?
Good. Thanks for having me. We get big news day today. Is this the biggest news day since you've been doing your podcast?
This is the biggest Monday? News day since last week, I think.
Well, okay. Yeah, that's true.
And somebody I really wanted to have on the show for quite a while, who's been a force in the community representing the Xbox, General MLD. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Colt. It's great to finally be on the show. Love your content. It's been a while since the 360 days, but I am loving this generation so far for Xbox. So
yeah, it's kind of feeling like the 360 days are back in their own way, and that's a good thing. It's one of my favorites. I gotta give a shout out to channel member veterans. I just updated the channel badges. They're the I guess I could pop them in here real quick. I've got these custom emojis here that I kind of retooled so they look a little bit nicer. I'm just trying to pop them in as we go. But if you join the channel membership, you'll have that next to your name. I don't know. There's just special perks. It's just good. But anyway, I'll hit send on those. But I'll try to do 9 things at once. But I got to give a shout out to the channel veterans who've been with the channel for a year or so. I'm fixing my camera as we go too. Shout out to Rodney Coots, Gaz, Dark CMF, Betamax, Dante, Moody, Alex Wilson, Lord Starkiller, Robert Jackson, Gamer McFly, Assassin, Lupa, Nanopolymyth, Suicide King, Yodani Quezada, Phil, KY Bob, William Lanza, and Matt Burns. So shout out to them for being here on the show. So it's so funny when I'm kind of like trying to tool things, I'm like trying to figure out what to say, but I am here. We're excited. Of course, we're going to talk about PlayStation and Bungie. Welcome, new member, Crazy Night Boy with the Joanna Dark picture. Welcome to channel membership. If you're a channel member, you'll get automatically entered into monthly drawings for merch, and you get my videos like 12, 15 hours early. If that means anything, I guess it's kind of cool. You can make a comment before anybody sees it, and then you feel special, I suppose. But let me start off before we get into those topics we were talking about before the show. But Stallion, what have you been playing lately? What's been your big game?
I've been going old school, kicking it old school. Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas. I've been playing the crap out of it. Almost 100%. I'm at like 97% or something like that. I'll have it done probably tomorrow. I never actually finished the game before. I'm 97% and I still haven't finished it. I got 3 missions left. So I haven't finished the main line yet, and I've done everything else. But this is not a badge of honor, but that is actually the last PlayStation 2 game, or last PlayStation game I actually played was San Andreas back in 2000.
That's what you were talking about. You first played it on the PlayStation 2,
and I never finished it.
Oh my!
Because I was playing a lot of Xbox back then. I was playing a lot of multiplayer games and stuff like that. So I kind of went away from it. Plus, my component cable broke. So I'm like, I need my component cable for this PlayStation. It was one of those monster ones. So it was pretty expensive at that time. They were really expensive. But yeah, it's been fun going back to that. I've been playing through Game Pass. still a really good game, still a classic game. I just wish they would have put better love and care into it.
It could have been timeless. It could have been timeless.
If
What
they
about you,
would've
General
remade
MLD? What have you been playing?
Well, this year, I've just been hacking away at the old backlog. I was surprised to play Stardew Valley for the first time when it hit Game Pass in December, and I put like 72 hours into that, and I feel like I barely scratched the surface, but I loved that game. Otherwise, Resident Evil 3, I also beat San Andreas, but not 100%. That's a little much for me. But also, I beat the Gunk, and just recently Max Payne 3. So just a lot of like taking advantage of those BC games and Xbox supports. So why not? I missed them back in the day. Hey, Max Payne 3, phenomenal game.
That was your first time playing Max Payne 3?
Yes, I'm sad to say it slipped through the cracks for me. Rockstar, they got to make more of these. It just makes me so sad that Grand Theft Auto 5 has been like ongoing this whole time, and they could have made another Max Payne or Red Dead, or you know what I'm trying to say. Just
well, they did make a Red Dead game. They did make a Red Dead, but yeah, you're right. They do need to go back to Max Payne. They need to show some love to Max Payne, or they just need to hand it off to somebody at this point. I mean, if they're not going to do anything with it, but that airport scene in that game, amazing.
Oh my gosh, like I died a ton because you have very little cover. That game is so good. When you get to the favela, if that's what it's called in Brazil, I still don't think I've seen like a level that looks more authentic to what the world looks like. That it's so much detail. Rockstar is amazing. We always heard rumors that Max Payne 3 would get remastered or enhanced or something, and it hasn't happened. There's got to be a reason why the Xbox FPS boost team hasn't been able to touch Max Payne 3. It's been asked for, but it came back and pat with no boost. Please tell us Rockstar is doing something besides GTA Online. But shout out to over 500, almost 550 people that are watching the XNC podcast. If you're having a good time in the chat, I see you all there in chat, or if you think you're going to have a good time, or you have hope that we're going to entertain you tonight, hit the like button. There's 150 likes. Let's get that sucker up to about 500, and that will kind of that'll be pretty good. If you were in the chat, minimize the chat, just to hit the like button to show your support. But you just being here and typing away, I'm watching you guys. You're being good. I appreciate that. We've got a lot to talk about. Let's start off with a little PlayStation banger that tapped into the news circuit today. MLB The Show 2022. I'll start with General MLD because last year they gave us a freebie. They put MLB 21 in Game Pass, and what happened today?
Well, evidently it's on Game Pass day one again, much to some people's surprise. Some people thought it was only a one-time thing, and here we are. Well, it looks like clearly it was working. Whatever Microsoft wanted out of it, they got it, so why not do it again? It's really amazing how it looks. Like, it's clearly made by a PlayStation first-party developer, but yet we're getting the content day one on Game Pass. It's a really weird situation, but hey, it's welcome nonetheless.
Yeah, it is. It is welcome. And what do you think about this, Stallion? Did you get to play baseball on Xbox last year?
That was one of my spring games. I got all the achievements in it, of course. I had to do that, and it's just great to see baseball back on Xbox. They didn't have any they had RBI. Do you want to call that a baseball game? No. Yeah, let's forget that game. Okay, that done. Let's just, that's over. But I think
what was that game? What was that Game Pass one? The goofy one. Stallion,
Super Mega Baseball.
Yeah, Super Mega Baseball, where they got like huge jaws.
That was pretty fun. That was better than the RBI. But yeah, I mean, it's great to have baseball back on Xbox, and it's great to see MLB wanting their baseball games to be on Xbox. But like MLD said, it's so weird that it's a Sony studio and it's going day one into Game Pass when PlayStation gamers have to pay $70 to play.
Right. So what happened? Game. So what do you think happened with that deal? Like, there must have been some financially goodness growth that came from going to Xbox, day one on Game Pass.
Well, obviously Microsoft, they paid the little bit extra to put it on it. And maybe, I don't know, I guess, would Sony have to do the same to put it, say, maybe the PS4 version on PSNow day one or PS Plus? I think they would take a hit on that themselves. Maybe they don't want to, and Microsoft's willing to do it for the goodwill. Because the way I see it, if people see on their friends list, if they're playing on MLB The Show, they might want in on that. You get a snowball effect going. I can kind of see the logic in that. So get the word of mouth going, because it is new to Xbox. So it is in their best interest to drum up that interest as fast as possible. So
yeah. I know there's some people in the chat that don't care about baseball, and when you talk about sports game, it's pretty hit or miss as far as who's going to like it. But I have a really good friend underachiever that lives in Michigan, and he goes to like the Detroit Tigers games. And so we got to sit down and play that game on the internet. My home team, Mariners versus the Tigers, and play like it, play in his stadium that he attends. Like, it's cool, kind of cool. I know not everybody loves a baseball game, but I have to think that microtransactions and people who bought the game and all the engagement on Xbox Live must have been a pretty big thing, because Stallion, this game hasn't even come to PC yet. And that was part of the plan.
I didn't even know that it's not even been to PC. They need to bring it over to PC as well. Major League Baseball needs to get on that. I mean, that's the driving force for it to be on the Xbox is Major League Baseball themselves. It's not. PlayStation's not pushing this. It's Major League Baseball. They want more people to get into baseball. That's why they're throwing into Game Pass. It'd be kind of like, if somebody acquired Take-Two, for instance, in the NBA game, that would be multi-platform.
Yeah,
since it's such a big franchise, and NBA would probably want it to be. That's kind of how that would go. But yeah, now we're going to expect it to be there every year, though. I believe the year after, you're going to expect that game to be on Game Pass, right? If it's been there for 2 years in a row, the third year, it's like we want this on Game Pass.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I thought last year was like the free taste, and then that was one of the pieces of news that rolled in, that it was going to be on Game Pass, and the trailer was on the Xbox channel, which is so weird to see the Xbox logo for the Xbox channel, and then PlayStation Studios logo comes up. This is actually a theme we're going to talk about quite a bit today, about how like our idea of the 2000s or 2010s exclusive idea is like totally changed. I got General MLD. The other piece of news that came in is that Sony's doing a state of play, and they're going to have a big showcase for Gran Turismo 7. Give us your excitement level for Gran Turismo 7.
I haven't played the Gran Turismo franchise, but it's what a lot of them are hyping that up. It's coming out in March. It's cross-gen. Is it? So it looks nice. Like, okay. I mean, going off the GT Sport, it had like a 75 Metacritic. So, I mean, it's got like, that's the bar. It's got to do better than that. So, but overall, though, I mean, I'm Team Forza guy. I think Forza Motorsport has taken the quality crown, like for at least the last few iterations. And I believe we're going to get the Forza Motorsport reboot this year. That's my own personal estimation. So they'll have their fun. I'm sure it'll be a great game, but that's me.
the sound. What about you, Stallion? There was a little quirk to this thing, but where are you sitting on the next Gran Turismo?
I mean, it looks good. It looks good. Gran Turismo has a rich history. When they first came out, those games were popping. They were sold. Go back and look at how much those sold on the PlayStation. 20 million. They sold a lot. I love those games. But then Forza came around, and I think it all changed from there. And then Horizon came along and then introduced it to a whole different group of people that don't like, the racing game that's for the die-hard racing fans. Yeah. Forza Horizon is arcadey, and it speaks to a lot more people, I believe. But yeah, I think we're going to see the Forza game come out this year as well, Forza Motorsport, and you're going to have Gran Turismo. We'll see how those stack up.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're going to be like 6 months apart. And the funny thing about this was when Sony announced the state of play that they were going to have a major showcase for Gran Turismo 7, Stallion, Forza trended on Twitter like immediately after.
That's right. Oh, man.
Did you have anything to do with that? Or I don't know, like what in the heck? I wasn't tweeting about Forza that morning.
Neither was I.
Living in their heads rent free,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if like like the Xbox guys tweeting about Forza, or the PlayStation guys saying this is going to be stomp Forza?
Yeah, as far as I know, the Xbox community, we're still tweeting about Activision Blizzard. We're still playing Forza. We're still happy about it. I'm sure you see the odd, screenshot. Look how beautiful this looks, but nothing trending worthy. It must be another fan community doing it. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I didn't go back and look through those, but it was kind of interesting to see that the trending there. So one of the things that reminds me of is just last week, Xbox announced that they had 20 million people playing Halo, and they had 18 million playing Forza, and then everyone had like this. Remember, Stallion, like the big reaction to 20 million on Halo was, well, how many bought it because it's free to play? Did you happen to see the MPD results on December for MPD for game sales?
Yeah.
Did you see where Halo landed?
It got 2, right? 2.
Number 2.
So it got played by a bunch of people.
Yep.
It was free to play. You can't buy that. Right?
Right.
Can you buy that? You can't buy that. So, I mean, obviously it's going to have a lot more people play than it's sold. Right? I mean, that's just math, right? That's just math, straight up math. But that's a big number. That's the biggest. I think they said that's the biggest Halo month ever, right? The biggest launch ever. I don't know exactly. Probably not. I don't know if that means money wise. I don't think it's money wise, because back in the day, Halo 3, 120 million in a week or something. It's something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous number.
More sold, but they have 25 million Game Pass subscribers. So obviously it's not going to make as much off the sales if there's 25 million people subscribed to Game Pass playing the game in Game Pass, and it's a free to play game as well. So how many people played the single player? I guess that's the question. I'd like to see those numbers.
I know I would too, because what you're just pointing out is that 25 million people could have played the campaign for free instead of buying it for 60, and it still hit number 2 on MPD.
That's good. I mean, that's a good sign. Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to CJAD93 for the super chat. He gives thank you so much for the £10 super chat. He says, hi, Colt, love the podcast. Do you think the Sony Bungie deal has been made to guarantee they have a player in the FPS market in case Xbox makes Call of Duty exclusive? What a great question, and we're going to dive into that in just a minute. That is crazy when we think about the first-person shooter. Xbox has most genres on lockdown if you look at that. But let's dive right into the bombshell of the news that I saw it break from Jeff Keighley. General MLV, do you know where you were the moment that PlayStation announced that they were buying the Halo creator?
I was playing Xbox and my phone went off. Pretty much. That's how it went down. And I looked it up. I verified it, and before you say anything, you gotta verify it's all on the level. You gotta look at the fine details. And my first thought was, I never played Destiny 1 and 2. So, and from what I'm seeing, they might not even be exclusive going forward. It seems to me it's like a Xbox bought Mojang situation where it's more valuable the more platforms it's on. So I feel like it's that situation, but Sony's doing it with Bungie. And in that case, I'm like, well, I felt no sting because there was no asset denial. You see, Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, a lot of IP are going to be under the Xbox umbrella going forward after all the contracts are done and all that stuff, which is fine. But as for this, I'm thinking to myself, so Destiny's not going to be exclusive, and it's just Bungie. I mean, okay. Good for Sony. Like, okay. I mean, they're entitled to, they're going to get their revenue stream. They're going to make some money off that down the road. It seems like Destiny 2 going forward and their future IP is going to be making a lot of money to warrant the $3.6 billion. But overall, though, as far as I'm concerned, as a Xbox fan, who loved the original trilogy, it doesn't really affect me too much. There's no negativity here. I'm not triggered or anything. Overall, just good for Sony. That's right. That's what it is. I'm not triggered. It's like It's just them, like with Xbox and Mojang. Yeah, good for them.
It is so weird. You didn't play Destiny at all, General?
Nope. Oh,
okay.
I have a unique situation here. Well, I liked Halo for the story. And then you see how Destiny 1 had the worst story, like especially for Bungie. And
yeah.
And Destiny 2, I feel like the story got better, but it's mostly for the gameplay. It's mostly for the grind, for the loot, all that stuff. But by then, I never picked it up, really. Maybe it's the Xbox, the Halo fan in me. Like, I'm a Halo lore fan. Like, I love Halo, but I specialize in the lore knowledge.
Okay.
When Bungie made Halo Reach, it disregarded so much of the books and the extended universe. While it was a great game to play, solid campaign, solid multiplayer, the story just completely turned me off to Bungie.
Wow.
And then Destiny,
you're kind of on your way out at that point, on their last hurrah.
Yeah.
What about
Destiny
you, Stallion?
1,
What's your history with the Destiny franchise?
I like Destiny a lot. I've played both 1 and 2 quite a bit. I don't play it as much as I haven't played in a couple years. I got to be honest, but it was never Halo. It was
never
good.
Halo, yeah.
It was never Halo. The funny thing about the Destiny thing from Bungie is they wanted to get away from making Halo, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of what they said.
Yeah.
We don't want to make any more Halos. We want to do something different. But how different was Destiny? I mean, it was kind of the same thing in a way. It's a live service game, but they're dealing with a lot of the same stuff. It's a first person shooter. It's a live service game, but they've been making that game for 10 years now, right? Almost 10 years. Well, it's going on to 9-10 years, whatever. I mean, they've been working on it for over 10 years.
That's what they said they would do, though. Remember, it was a 10-year plan.
10-year plan, but they're still going with it. But the first thing I thought of is just the fact the history with Xbox and Bungie. Now, this would almost be like if Xbox bought Naughty Dog, because I think that's PlayStation's. That's their best their best publisher or their best developer.
And kind of like I know what you're getting at, like their what's the word? Like, I want to say like they're kind of their father of their main franchise, right? It is kind of similar. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I kind of get
But I mean, they have a lot more stuff going on. Naughty Dog has a lot more stuff going on, it seems like, than Bungie's had recently, just because they've only been making Destiny games. But what moving forward, I mean, I think you're going to bring up the quotes and stuff like that, but I don't know if for sure we can say definitively that Destiny 3 will be, if they make a Destiny 3. I know they're working on new IP. I don't know if that's going to be on Xbox. I have no idea. I got to be honest with you. I have no clue.
We do have to get into those quotes. Yeah.
They're a little sketch, and plus you don't know. I mean, Sony owns them. I have no idea at this point. I have no idea what they're doing with it. But I would say the same as I would say most when Xbox has acquired these companies, they're going to be exclusive to PlayStation moving forward. Destiny 2 is going to live on Xbox. Destiny 1 is going to live on Xbox until they kill it off, whenever they do that. Who knows when that'll be? But moving forward, I don't see those games. What are you going to trade Destiny for Call of Duty? What's going to go on here?
Okay,
what are we getting?
So what we're going to get into tonight. I promise you guys, if we're going to talk about PlayStation, we got to talk about it from the perspective of Xbox. What it means is, as an Xbox owner, and I have both consoles, so it's just like, who knows what's going to happen. We'll get into like the details of that. I got to give a shout out to Tubbs. 1971, who's in the chat. We've been friends for like a decade. Shout out to him for hanging out in the chat. And I forgot this. You guys have great hats on. I could throw a hat on, but I'm wearing my Burgle shirt. I'm a big fan of this grounded game, a game I thought I would make fun of. And my kids and I have been playing it like crazy. So much that I spent like $30 on a shirt for me and my other two kids. They have these shirts. So it's got a rep. A game that I absolutely love. Let me grab a couple super chats. We're going to get into some of these quotes because right now PlayStation is in the uncomfortable position where they have to approach exclusivity the way that Phil has had to for the past year and a half. Guys, remember how Phil was kind of squirming Like when the media would ask him about exclusivity and he'd have to kind of dance around these answers until he could say more. PlayStation is in that spot. We're going to get into it in just a minute. I got to give a shout out to Hargate Johnny with a $5 super chat. Good friend of mine. Talk to him almost every day on Xbox when I can. He says, is Destiny Bungie really worth $3.6 billion? I can see why Xbox said no to Bungie. It's like half the cost of ZeniMax, but Zenny gives you so much more. I'm so glad Hargate said this because those of us who've talked to people behind the scenes knows that Phil made an offer to Bungie and it was a bit too much money. There's a rumor that it was a little under $3 billion. Now it is in the situation where Bungie asked for even more because the price of acquisition has seen a skyrocket, like the housing market, because everybody wants some, and I want some too, as my good man Dave Lee Roth would say. But General
it's
MLD,
the
are you
arms race? That's what it is. Content arms race.
It is
100%.
Totally the arms race. Let's see. We got one from Brisket for the Biscuit, my Australian buddy who lives in the UK right now. Thank you so much for the $7.99 Australian dollar. He says, a smart buy for Sony, I think. Love to reach. He loved reach. He says, I'm back in Oz. Okay, he made it back. And stoked to see Colt at a normal time. Great show. So for him, it's 11 o'clock or noon over there in the future in Australia. I need to get over there. Have you guys been across seas? Or I've only stayed here in the States my whole life.
I travel around. Yeah.
I've been to Hawaii and Cancun. That's about it. No overseas stuff really. I hate flying. I don't like flying long trips.
Yeah, it's like a 14-hour flight from where I live. So
Flight Simulator. I'll stick to Flight Simulator for a little bit. I can see everything. You can see everything in Flight Simulator.
Yep. I guess I'll fly over Risket for the Biscuit's house in Flight Simulator, but I've already driven there like 4 million hours in Forza Horizon 3. But let's get in. Let's see. I got Dub, a channel member, 8 months. So shout out to Colt and the panel. What a crazy month it's been in gaming. Happy to see all the competition going on. Both companies loading up the ammo. And one more from Hargeet. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, also, since Sony has the highest gaming revenue with PlayStation, isn't buying Bungie a potential for a monopoly? As Hogue said, who I had on the show last week, anything over 100 million will be scrutinized. I think Hogue said anything over 100 million is considered for review, I think is how he put it. He says, is Sony in trouble here? Stallion, is Sony going to be looking at a potential monopoly?
I don't think so. They're just going to make more third-person action games. Destiny 3 is going to be a third-person action game here on out.
No.
They're going to have a monopoly on third-person action games. That's what it is. That's what's going on. No, I don't see that happening. They need a first-person shooter. I mean, Killzone was supposed to be the Halo killer. Well, now they have Halo, the Halo maker, to make the Halo killer. Maybe they'll make Killzone 4. I don't know.
I think Killzone's done, but
yeah, you're probably right.
That
was a joke.
Yeah,
no Killzone.
What about you, LD? Do you think that there's like a monopoly thing? You have in your mind all the studios they bought 7 this past year.
Well, no, it won't be a monopoly because I think Tencent, they're the ones to beat in terms of gaming revenue. If anything, I think it'll have the opposite effect. It's only going to make Microsoft want to buy even more to catch up to the revenue stream that Sony is going to inherit. So overall, it's going to be good for competition. Xbox will keep being hungry because of this.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it is totally an arms race. Shout out to over 1,100 people who are watching the show. This is the XNC Podcast. I'm Colt Eastwood. I'm trying to be the host. I'm here with Stallion83. He is a massive Xbox expert and a Twitch streamer and just an all-around great guy. And General MLD, who's an Xbox veteran who goes all the way back to when the Xbox first had a power button. He's amazing. We're just welcome to the show. We're having a good time. And hit the like button if you're having a good time with this PlayStation talk. We'll get into this in the most interesting way possible, but I have to read these quotes because as we sit here and wonder if PlayStation just stuck it to Xbox with by buying like their Halo creator. Shout out to Dealer Gaming in the chat too. One of my best friends. When we're not playing games, we're playing games on Xbox. So yeah, he's a great guy. So here is the quote from Herman Holtz, who's the head of PlayStation Studios. This guy oozes cool for an Xbox executive, but he says, "I'm absolutely thrilled to announce a new member will be joining the PlayStation family. I'm a fan of Bungie for years. I've admired and enjoyed the games that they create and a great respect in the skill in building worlds that gamers want to explore again and again." So a lot of PR talk. He says, Bungie makes games with outstanding technology. That's a key word. Stallion, hold on to that one. Bungie makes games with outstanding technology that are enormously fun to play. They also have unmatched dedication to the communities to play their games. And everyone at PlayStation and PlayStation Studios will be excited about what we can share and learn from them. I've spent a great deal of time with the senior team at Bungie, and it's clear their experience and skills are highly complementary to our own. Third-person Destiny. We will be ready to welcome and support Bungie as they continue to grow, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this incredible team. Suck at Xbox, Herman Holtz. No.
Suck at Xbox, yeah.
So I don't know. You guys key on that word technology. We're going to think about what their intent is with Bungie because there's more about exclusivity. But I'll go with Stallion first. Do you know what he's talking about with technology?
Are they talking about maybe like trying to make more live service games? I mean, that's what they need. They do need live service games on PlayStation. They have kind of neglected that over the years. They have single player games. They have single player experiences. Yeah. Now they have a legit live service game they own potentially. I mean, I know Bungie's staying somewhat. Bungie's been weird, like their whole existence. They're very flexible. It's like you can't lock them down. It's like you can't put a ring on them. They just keep going everywhere. Like they were on Team Xbox. They bought their way out of it even before they released their final two games. They were independent before they even released a Reach and ODST. They were independent.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They bought their independence back then, even before they signed the Activision deal. But the technology side, I'm not really sure, other than the live service stuff. But they do need a legit first-person shooter. PlayStation does, and they have it now. They have a Destiny. They have a proven track record to make amazing first-person shooters. There's no doubt about that. They have the pedigree. They've been there. They've done that. The gameplay on Bungie games, amazing.
Yeah. General MLD, you have to experience. I don't love Destiny. Trust me. When Dealer was here in the chat, like we first cut our teeth in gaming. We've since I think we've hidden those videos because I sound like a 12-year-old in that video. But we kind of cut our teeth reviewing Destiny 1 because I played it hoping it would do great things, and it really disappointed me. So you got to play it for the gameplay. But General, MLD, what is it with what's the technology you think they want to eke out from Bungie? Because what they're doing is working.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that too. Like, do they own the engine? Like, is the game engine for Destiny something that's coveted?
Oh, yeah. What is the engine? Is it Unreal?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So otherwise, if beyond that, I think Stallion was onto something. Just their net code, like the ability for them to create a live service game with an addicting multiplayer that keeps people coming back. Because I think that is ultimately what Sony wants. Because they did a lot of the experimentation in the PS3 era with a lot of multiplayer games, and that for just some reason or another didn't pan out. Hence, their move more towards the single player games. I think this is just their foot in the door. They can now take these ideas and apply them now. I mean, that's aside from that, the game engine, if they own that exclusively anyway. So yeah, who knows?
Oh yeah, I mean, if they can grab. We're going to talk about Bungie's future as far as what they're building in a minute, but somebody said it in the chat too. If they could just get their expertise, the way that that Bethesda borrowed Machine Games' first-person shooter mechanics to make Fallout playable behind the pistol and behind the rifle, right? Because you remember Fallout 3 in New Vegas, like the shooting's horrible, but the game's so great you just forgave it. But
you just use VATS all the time. You didn't go in. You didn't actually use. You didn't go into Iron Sight. It was terrible.
But Fallout 4, like the shootings. I know people make fun of me for saying this, but the shooting's pretty good. I mean, I could play without VATS for quite a long time in a lot of the game. I'll go to VATS when you're under pressure. But anyway, the point is, right? MLD, if they can get Bungie to help them on their next first-person shooter. Maybe they do have plans to get a big FPS. Like you said, the net code, that was a really good point. How do you get the net code? How do you get the matchmaking working, all the online components? Because that's a dance that if you've been, MLD said it perfectly, if you've been spending the past decade making first single-player games, and you're kind of out of the big multiplayer competitive workout, right? You could use somebody like Bungie. So that is a really good point. Let me grab another super here. I got one from Team Violence plus Jez. I don't know if this is Jez from Windows Central because I don't recognize this this picture, but he says shrimp, which is classic Jez Corden from last year. Jez is such a happy troll just for good laughs. He's so funny. Jez is amazing. I would love to have Jez on the show, but where he lives, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning when the show starts. So maybe one of these days somebody could just give him like 4 cases of Mountain Dew and maybe we can make it happen. But let's see. We got Yodani Kizada says, do you guys think Bungie has unreleased game that is a cash cow? Game as a platform because keeping them multi-plat oozes confidence. Yes, let me read this next quote before I hand it back over to these 2 gentlemen here. Bungie says, together we share a dream of creating and fostering iconic franchises that unite friends around the world, families across generations, and fans across multiple platforms and entertainment mediums. So as they kind of went together with this press release, there's all these quotes came from gamesindustry.biz. So MLD across multiple platforms. What is this oozed confidence to be multi-plat?
Oof, I said before, a lot of this to me is just screaming Xbox and Mojang. Like Sony is just really confident in just the revenue stream that is going to happen along Bungie's like yearly plans and going forward in the future. I think that they're okay with them being multi-plat, reaching new gamers, because the monetization, it's not within exclusivity more and more these days. It's all within engagement, DLC, microtransactions, stuff like that. As long as people are being engaged, that's what they want. I mean, Sony, they're slowly but surely they're breaking away from the old ways, and they're kind of seeing what Xbox is doing, and they kind of want a piece of that too. So this is like them testing the waters. So I can kind of see that's what I think it means when it says that they're confident in all this. Even though it'll be multi-platform, it's just the amount of revenue that they're going to bring in. So that's what I think.
Okay. All right. I think that's a pretty good point, actually. I think that pretty much covers that's where the real money is, but somebody has to know about what Bungie is working on next, because I'm not quite sure it's Destiny 3. Stallion, do you know what their next game title is?
I don't think it's Destiny. I have no idea what it is, but I don't think it's Destiny. They've done that for 10 years.
Yeah.
We've seen that. They've kind of, I think they hit the ceiling. I believe they hit the ceiling with Destiny, and it's going to continue on. Destiny 2, they've got a new expansion coming out next month. It's coming. The Witch Queen coming out next month. It's going to continue on. It's going to continue everywhere. Xbox, PlayStation, PC. But when they're talking about multi-platform in these quotes, are they just talking about PlayStation and PC, or we don't know what they're doing. We have no idea what they're going to do. They could do the Minecraft thing, but Minecraft was already on PlayStation. They didn't take it away from PlayStation. But they did put Minecraft Dungeons on PlayStation and Switch, which is kind of interesting. So moving forward, that might be no indication of what Xbox's plans are with Activision Blizzard stuff. But what in the hell is Sony gonna do with their games? Are they actually gonna put them on Xbox? I don't know.
This is really weird. We have to read some more of the quotes, but the game project name that Destiny's working on is called Matter. And so that could be the final name of the game, but as far as it's been reported, that's the new IP is called Matter for Bungie. It'll be something different from Destiny. We can just guess it would be a first-person game like Marathon and Halo and Destiny. So they have a long history. So whatever they come out with will be amazing. But you could say that obviously the Destiny stuff's going to stay multi-plat. It already exists. You can't yank it off of Xbox. But this Matter game could be the first exclusive for PlayStation, which means whenever they start on it, it could be 3 to 5 years toward the end of the generation when this comes onto the PlayStation 5. But we don't know. And I have to read another quote from Jim Ryan. The great Jim Ryan says, the first thing to say unequivocally is that Bungie will stay independent, multi-platform studio and publisher. We are starting. This is great. Jim Ryan says we are starting to go multi-platform. You've seen that. We have an aggressive roadmap with live services. That I got to stop there. General, what in the heck? He just said we believe in generations like 8 months ago, and he's saying we have an aggressive roadmap to go multi-platform. Do I have to read this again before I give you the mic?
Like the beginning part, the part where he says equivocally. Just say that part again. The
first thing to say unequivocally is that Bungie will stay independent, multi-platform studio and publisher.
Yeah, like that alone is just uncharted waters. Like we've never seen that before. It's an acquisition, but they are totally independent at the same time, and they can make their own decisions. It's not like Bethesda where they have their autonomy, but ultimately their platforms have to be in the Xbox ecosystem. This is like full autonomy, like stop period. So it's so unlike Sony. And I liked, and here's the little joke here. It's like Jim Ryan saying this, but Jim Ryan, he said some questionable things in the past that turned out not to be true at all. So who knows, right? But oh man, this is
the other way. Yeah.
This is something else, man.
What about you, Stallion? What is that news to you? That statement that he said?
No, I saw that. That was the first thing I saw, and I was thinking back to the Phil Spencer quotes as well, with all the Bethesda, the Activision Blizzard. What he said, that quote was more definitive than anything Phil said about games being exclusive, Bethesda games or Activision games being exclusive or not on Xbox. That was more definitive, but there's still wiggle room. They say multi-platform. Destiny is huge on PC. So with these quotes, I think they just didn't want to alienate the PC gamers, not the Xbox gamers. They didn't want to alienate the PC because PlayStation has never released a game day one on PC as well, and they just want you to know, hey, PC gamers, you're going to get it too day one.
We're coming, baby.
Because finally, I mean, we got God of War on PC. They're trickling them out, but eventually these games are all going to come out on PC day one as well. Something Xbox has been doing for 5 years, 6 years,
6 or 7 years almost. 5 years
has been criticized too, for whatever reason.
That's such a massive change from. We were talking before the show about like how we got into the community and created content, and General MLD was saying he kind of was away from the content creation community when, as far as creating content, when the Xbox One came out. And I came in not long after that. I came in to the absolute cesspool of please don't buy an Xbox from the media and from retailers across the world. Please don't buy an Xbox. Is the world I came into to create content. But this is such a change. Shout out to
you now. Look at you now. It's like you. Have you ever seen Deframe when he crawled through the shit in the jail? That's you now. That's you now.
You look up at the range,
crawl through a river.
Shawshank Redemption. There you go.
I did. I crawled through this long 2 football field length sewer pipe and came out in 2019 or 2020 when they actually started buying studios. It was absolutely ridiculous. Tubbs in the chat. Him and I had so many conversations. We had arguments even because he plays a lot on the PlayStation, plays a lot on the Xbox. We had arguments because Xbox was sitting on the bench riding the pine, not making games. And there was a lot of there was some toxic activity going on, but we had some fun. and we're still great friends through all the chokeholds and wedgies and whatnot over the internet. But let's see, where was I? We got to give a shout out to PVT Ghost 24. Thank you so much for the $5 super. He says, I think the portion of toxic Sony fanboys are going to be triggered by Xbox fans not being angry with Sony buying Bungie. I'm not angry. Guys, how do you feel about this? I think you kind of said a little bit.
I'm great.
I'm good.
I'm not angry. I think it's a good fit for PlayStation. They need a first-person shooter. Mm-hmm. It's a good fit for PlayStation. I think they were probably asking a little too much from Xbox. 3.7 or 3.6, whatever. It's a lot of money when Bethesda was just 7.5. And what you're getting a great game, but I'm not going to say all they've made. They've done a lot in the history of Xbox. It would have been nice for them to come home. I would have loved to see them come home. It's almost like Insomniac coming home to play. I mean, they finally bought them. They finally put a ring on it, but it was a little too much. They were asking probably a little too much for Xbox, considering how many first-person shooters do they have now, and live service games. They have
Wolfenstein.
They have
Halo.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
No, I think with Call of Duty Warzone, those rumors that Call of Duty Warzone will come out in 2023 and it'll be multi-platform. I think that's their Bungie right there. That Warzone 2 is going to print so much money. It's Call of Duty. I think they know that that's a much better bet, and they already got that. So Bungie might be a little too much on top of that. So that's what I think. I think Warzone 2 is a better cash cow long term, and Xbox knows it.
Yeah, and I think Warzone could sustain itself as a multi-platform if it also included some PvP maps beside the battle royale. Then you could just say, look, you already kind of have this package deal here, this multi-platform deal, but the Call of Duty thing we'll talk about in a little bit as well. Shout out to over 1,300 people who are watching the XNC Podcast. I'm the host, Colteastwood. I'm here having a great time with Stallion and General MLD, and we are talking about PlayStation. If you're just joining, if you're enjoying the show, hit the like button. Let's get that up to 500. The chat is amazing. I've seen so many good friends and great people who are having a lot of kind of working this stuff out as they type about what in the heck is going on with exclusivity. Because Phil Spencer stepped up to the plate today and said, hey, Herman, good job. Congratulations. You bought what we couldn't, you bought what we didn't. And I think they all get along behind the scenes, but that doesn't mean we can't tussle a little bit. But we've got Duvy with the $5 says, I believe Bungie's Q&A stating future games will be multi-plat. They said extend to play anywhere people play games. Gosh, that sounds like an Xbox quote. Yeah. Duvy says, to me, that says it'll be Xbox 2 or Xbox as well. He means, yeah, that's interesting. Flame with the $2 says, boy, oh boy, I sure do love all of this organic growth. So Stallion, this is a topic of discussion because this is really Xbox centric as well. Like Xbox just bought 10 studios with Activision and Blizzard. PlayStation has bought about 7 in the same amount of time. And there's this organic growth. Does this term rub you the wrong way?
Does it really matter? I mean, it's I don't think it matters. I don't really they're all looking to get content right now on their platform. Content is king. They're trying to get that content. It's a content arms race. Who cares where if it's organic or non-organic or whatever, as long as if you're acquiring good studios and you're making those studios, if you're enhancing those studios, if they are becoming better because you own them, what's the problem? Let's let it play out, and then we'll talk. We'll go through the steps of, was that a good acquisition or not? We'll know once we see these games come out if they're better. Psychonauts 2. Was that game better because Xbox owns them?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
it was
100%.
That's a good point. What about you, MLD? What do you think about the organic thing? Have you had any arguments with people on social media? Tell me you dug in elbows deep on this one.
Oh yeah, I was in the trenches there. Like when Xbox got Bethesda, That seemed to be the default comeback narrative. And in my opinion, it's like the weakest narrative because it's meant to devalue and like the whole acquisition, like it means nothing just because they weren't bought or built up from the ground up or something. Well, like Stallion says, like, what does that matter? All that matters is that they're great. If they're great games and they're on Xbox, fantastic. That's the point. Who cares how they're acquired or how they're made? The point is that they have them. And people may be saying, well, Sony and Destiny, Bungie, they were close with like Destiny 1 and 2 time exclusive content or marketing rights, and giving them a check for some time exclusive content. That doesn't qualify as organic. That's just you cutting a check. Okay, so it's just, I never liked the narrative. It made no sense to me. So
yeah, you're right. It is like that. It's ammo for the war on that one. Like, how familiar are you with PlayStation Studios? How many of their studios have they bought?
At least half, I think, are bought over the years. So again, like the narrative doesn't even fact check their own history. So I don't get it.
Like a good example of this, Stallion, is The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the greats of last generation, one of the highest rating. So many people played it. I didn't love the heck out of it, but you know how many people worked on that game? Have you heard those factoids?
A lot of different studios. Yeah, a lot of different studios pitched in to help make those. And that's the case with a lot of games. That's the case with so many games. I know this came up when Perfect Dark was being developed by, was it Square, right? Or not Square? What's the studio that's helping with that?
Crystal Dynamics.
Yes,
Crystal Dynamics. There you go. There you go. Crystal. That all came up because of that. But yeah, I mean, there's so many teams that work on a lot of these games that put a lot of work into to everything they make. So again, if the game is good, what does it matter how it gets made? If it's organic is food. It's not fucking video games. Okay, I don't know what to tell you.
It's boutique. It's boutique, Stallion.
It's not farm to table.
It's farm to table studios. I got it. It's so funny because I look at it like a sports team, right? Like everyone's rooting. Like if you're rooting for the 49ers, actually, I said this last week when the 49ers are playing, but like your team has to be like born and raised in that city and go to that university, that alma mater, and be, coached by all the local teams and eat the best organic fruit there to make it to the Super Bowl. It's so obnoxious. When you bring up Perfect Dark, Stallion, like I'm thinking, I want Perfect Dark to be really good. And then I think if the initiative is like 80 people, like who's working on it? They bring in Crystal Dynamics. I'm like, okay, I like what they've done with some games. So I just want it to be really good. And I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. 2,000 people worked on The Last of Us Part 2. And I think a dozen studios pitched in to make that a reality. And it turned into a really high quality product. If you loved it or if you didn't, it was organic quality. But I don't know. Those arguments just go on and on. Risk it for the biscuit. Thank you so much for the Australian $7.99. He says, anytime you come to Oz, I've got 3 rooms, all yours, Colt, for that low price of only $15 per month. 15p a month. He says, loving the show. Gotta fly again, but hit that like button. He said he's getting on to Flight Simulator. So yeah, just fly over PlayStation Studios and you can drop some pesticides, make sure everything's super organic. Organic pesticides. But yeah, I shouldn't have said that. That's so violent to drop pesticides on a building and ruin the paint job. But let's get into the I never want to say anything horrible, but there I did. Let's get into the rest of these quotes. This is I think this is so weird. This might take a turn. The last quote I have from Jim Ryan is, philosophically, this isn't about pulling things into PlayStation world. It's about building huge and new wonderful worlds together.
That's like a Phil Spencer thing to say. Like, I don't know. That's weird. That's so unlike them to say that. Yeah.
There's something here that he's saying that I attributed to what Bobby Kotick and Phil said in their interviews about the acquisition. And I'll read it again. He says, it's about building huge and new wonderful worlds together. So I would suppose that PlayStation is going to help with Matter, the new IP. but the word that came to my mind was, is this a metaverse reference?
Oh,
because think about this arms race that we're talking about with studios being acquired. Like, I don't believe that PlayStation and Xbox are out there buying studios and publishers to keep them away from Tencent. That can't be the only reason. There's got to be something bigger that is worth that money, because why buy something so Tencent can't have it, or Amazon? It's like, you have to think about what you're doing with your money. Stan, what the heck is the metaverse? Is this what's going on?
I have no idea. They might be. They're spending a lot of money all of a sudden, like a ton of money when they weren't. How long ago they could have got? But what could they? Back in the day, how much could they have bought Bungie for outright, or some of these studios? It's just all of a sudden these last couple of years they're really spending the billions. 7.5 billion, $70 billion. There's something going on. I think you're onto something there. There's something else at play here. Maybe they're trying to keep these. I mean, they're making a lot of money. They made a lot of money during the pandemic. Is it
sure?
This kind of stuff. I mean, I always knew video games were going to take over the world. That's what's happening. Video games are taking over the world. Is it the metaverse, or is it just the fact that video games are going to? They've exploded, and they're just going to keep. It's just the trend is upward. It's not. I don't think it's going to go down. We're going to keep seeing these video games get bigger, larger, more people playing them. Maybe this is for their subscription services. Obviously, Game Pass is a big play here, because they want millions and millions of people subscribing to Game Pass, which is a great value. And for the price, you get to play for the low monthly price, whatever. You get to play all these games that you'd normally have to pay $60-$70 for. Say like Netflix. How much are movies? $15-$20, but you're still paying $15 a month or whatever,
and you're watching like 8 of them that month. Right.
The video games are much more expensive, and they're bringing you this value. So I think they're just building it up until where they have 50 million, 75 million, 100 million subscribers, and they need this exclusive content. I think PlayStation is catching on to what Xbox is doing.
Like lots and lots of content for the future that'll keep people engaged, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, MLD, what do you think? The metaverse is more than just Ready Player One. There's more to it. What do you get from this? Like, we've been on this earth for a while. We've seen gaming evolve. What do you think's going on with this thing?
Like in the context of Sony and Bungie, you mean?
With them kind of saying they want to build these big worlds together, where it seems like they're investing in more and more studios to build more and more games. There's 2 things I'll kind of direct you to answer, so I don't take it over for you. But there's kind of what Stallion was saying is future proofing with all this massive content for the soon to be millions and millions, right? And the other part is Project Spartacus.
Yeah, I think in the end they do tie together, because I do agree the industry is booming at a very unprecedented rate. I think the pandemic kind of sped that along, like maybe at least half a decade, in my opinion. So, and with subscription services now becoming more and more of a thing. It happened in TV, happened in movies. It's going to happen in gaming. Xbox are trying to get out in front of it. You need like Netflix when they did their own exclusive stuff. Content is king. So Xbox is doing the same thing. They're taking IPs that are like time tested. We're talking like decades old, some of them, like Doom and Wolfenstein, and like Diablo for PC, StarCraft, things like that. So they're banking on that nostalgia. The people, the older IPs, those guys are like parents now. They're going to want to play them. The kids are going to play what they want to play, that kind of stuff. It'll snowball from there. I think it's what it's all about now. It's all about bringing people into your own specific ecosystem and holding them. Because even if whatever Bungie makes in the future is multi-platform, whether it's exclusive or multi-platform, it will be on Project Spartacus. It's pretty much guaranteed at this point. So whatever can differentiate Sony's services from the competition, I think that's the end goal right now. And yeah, hence we're in this massive arms race. Everyone who can buy something is buying something. So I think they all see the future, and it's coming faster than we think.
Do you guys think that consoles are holding back the growth of gaming? even though they've kind of helped it explode in its own ways bigger than PC. But when Jim Ryan says that console isn't enough, do you think maybe, because Phil's gone beyond it, think about this before you answer, have consoles sort of held back the growth of gaming somehow?
I still don't think so. I mean, I think it serves as a base from which it can grow because, I mean, no, I definitely don't think so. I definitely don't think so because it all stems out from there. I think for the longest time, Game Passes, most of their subs came from console, and only then can it branch out into PC and mobile as those markets grow. I mean, I mean like Game Pass PC, I feel like still has a lot of potential. It still has like a high ceiling because like if they can find a way to get PC users to like on Steam to sub to Game Pass PC, the sky's the limit. But right now, it is mostly from, I think, the console base. So I think that's my answer. I think it's a starting point.
You said how they could get players from Steam to come to Xbox.
Yeah.
Well, they still sell their games on Steam, so that they still get their money from there. Xbox is still selling their games on Steam, but Blizzard was the big play there because those games are going to be on Game Pass PC. So that when you buy Blizzard, that's not just for consoles. That's a play on PC. So Steam probably maybe a little. They're not. Steam is rolling. They're not really worried, but they're just trying to bring some more people to Game Pass PC by the millions, and it's just not a console thing anymore. It's growth everywhere because your question was is console is it holding back? Is that what was the
holding back the growth?
Holding back the growth. No, it's just another piece of the puzzle to play games on. Wherever you can play video games, we're going to give you an outlet to play video games, whether it's console, cloud, PC, whatever the metaverse is going to be. You can stream them on your Xbox. I guess you can play them straight on your Xbox, but you can also stream games on your Xbox. You can stream it right on your PC. What is it? Xbox.com/play. Play games there. It's not the greatest experience yet, but it's gotten better. It's getting better with time. So they're investing in that for the future. They're future proofing that, day by day, while PlayStation is kind of sitting back and waiting, while Xbox is going to have a huge lead when it comes to these key things in the future. Xbox is going to have a huge lead, kind of like they had with Xbox Live and PlayStation Network back in the day.
Like they have the lead right now over PlayStation on all those things you just listed, right?
Right.
They're already far ahead. And
they got the jump.
All three of us are Gen Xers, right? Like we grew up in, I grew up, with a Walkman when I was younger. And then I drove around in a car with either a tape deck or a in-dash CD, right? So for me to have a CD collection, it's so crazy. You're talking about this, Stallion, about where you could play everywhere. The thought of me, 1990s me, compared to now, where my music was on that CD and I had to bring it with me in my car or take it out of my car and put it in the house to listen to it. My music is on Spotify right here on my screen. And then it's transferred right over to my phone when I walk away. I plug it in. It's in my car. It's everywhere. Like my music and my movies can be anywhere. And with Phil and Jim Ryan saying we want to bring our games everywhere you go, like it brings so much power to your dollar. Shout out to over 1,300 people who are watching this XNC podcast. Hit the like button if you're having a good time. We've got a bunch of stuff to cover. This show is live on YouTube right now. If you're listening after the fact, it's because I immediately put it on Spotify, Google, Apple, and Pocket, and some other podcast platform. It's great, but I put that on a platform where you can listen to audio on demand. It's also be on demand after the show closes. We've got a lot to talk about, but thank you so much for checking out the show. I'm here with Stallion83 of Xbox fame, over 3 million gamer score. I think he's at
3 million. Not 3 million. No, I don't have 3 million. I could have 3 million. I haven't played all the easiest.
Was it 2.3?
It's 2.25.
Okay? At this point, we just round up and we just say he has 50 million gamer score.
10 million.
It's so funny. It's like I was on someone's show and they go, Colt, you're going to be at 200,000 subscribers in no time. And I'm like, And me knowing what the numbers are doing, because I watch them, I'm like, kind of like you, 3 million.
Yeah.
But you're like,
yeah.
Anyway,
I'll be there
just so you know, on the outside, we think you're great, and on the inside, internally, we're like, I could do better. I know I can do better. It's amazing, but I'm having a good time. Also here with General MLD, somebody who I'm starting to get to know. This is the best thing about this show is if somebody says, Cole, I'll do your show, I get to meet them, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. We talk on Twitter all the time. It's not the same. Now we're here face to face.
Yes.
And we are ready to take on the world. Let me get a couple supers. Ron Hale says with a $5, thank you, Ron. He says, do you guys think PlayStation will let Bungie do their own thing and financially back them? Yes, I think so. He said, like Microsoft are doing with their acquisitions. In the stuff that I didn't copy all the text, but you guys read it today, but they said in so many words, just like Xbox has said, that we're going to let them do their thing, and that's why we hired them, right? Did you guys kind of grab that from all the interviews?
Well, that's why they said that they're going to remain independent, right? So that in itself gives a lot of wiggle room as to what they'll do. Yeah.
Yeah, and here, General MLD and I aren't like massive Destiny fans. Like he hasn't played it, and I didn't love it, but it is a quality game in its own way. I'll say that because I know there's diehard fans. I know why they love it. How do you even approach that? I just say I know they love that game for a reason, and the combat is spot on. It just doesn't do it for me, and everyone's different, right? So Bungie is really good at what they do. So obviously, PlayStation has said, yes, we're going to let them do what they do best and give them their expertise in exchange for funding and technical support and stuff like that. So we got RJ Pays with a $10 says, sounds like Sony bought Bungie for their proprietary tool set for live service games. This acquisition seems more about fast-tracking AAA live service games from PlayStation Studios than any specific Bungie IP. Does RJ have it right, guys?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a good super. For Havoc, thank you for the $2. He says it's good biz, but they overpaid. Stellan, you were talking about overpaid a little bit ago, or about the what the cost should have been or would have been back in the day. How much do you think they overpaid, or is it just the market now?
I don't know, because so Bethesda's $7.5 billion, which is crazy money, unfathomable amount of money. And we're like, all bets are off. Microsoft can buy anybody now. I don't think anybody said Activision Blizzard. I don't think, even when I was last on your podcast, we did not talk about Activision Blizzard. We talked about Take-Two. We talked about literally everybody else. We just didn't bring up that name. And they are $70 billion.
Don't round up. It was 68.7. I'm not going to round up your gamer score. Don't be rounding up the acquisition.
Right. What is it? 68.7, right? Was that the number exactly?
Right.
That exact number, 68.7. How is it worth that much more than Bethesda? Bethesda has a lot of IP. They got a lot of stuff going on. They're worth 10 times more than Bethesda. I have no idea how that even adds up. I know that Call of Duty is the biggest thing.
Seems like they have the same amount of currently alive IPs, right?
I think Candy Crush. I think we're all sleeping on that. Apparently that game prints money.
Everybody forgets about that one, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's
That's
a banger.
That's a thing. I don't know much about that, so we don't talk about it. I have never played Candy Crush, but maybe I will. Maybe once it comes to Xbox, I'll play it, get some achievements in Candy Crush. Who knows? But the fact that Blizzard is huge. They have mega IPs, and then Bethesda's worth 10 times less. I don't see it. I know Call of Duty's huge, like massive. And the fact that they have the big IPs now, all those big IPs from Activision Blizzard that have been dormant for quite some time now, they need to bring those back. But where was I going with this? The fact that it's $70 billion is crazy, and Bethesda's $7.5 billion. Now, and then
what was Bungie?
3.6. And that's one studio, and they have one IP.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
How in the heck I don't know how it adds up to. that amount of money, but it's a crazy amount of money regardless. I have no idea how much was Insomniac. It was like 200, 300 million
220 something.
Yeah, it was like 250 million, wasn't it, MLD?
Yeah, like that seems like a steal these days, especially when they make Spider-Man and all that stuff. So yeah,
I guess Minecraft was 2.5 million, and that 2.5 billion,
yeah,
and that was like 7 years ago. So I guess we can put Destiny kind of in that category. Is there a live service? Because Mojang was one IP, one game, and it's one of the best selling games of all time. But I'm sure Destiny makes a lot of money because there is a big player base for Destiny.
It ain't no Minecraft. Minecraft has gone well beyond gaming right now.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's no Minecraft, but it's 8 years later.
Yeah, that's true.
That is crazy. You guys got me teetering on. I'm ready to say I don't think they overpaid, and then I'm like, oh man, when I look at Minecraft, 10 years ago,
8.
That's a heck of an inflation number coefficient right there.
Maybe be about the same amount with inflation.
I mean, you're talking about one IP. The cash value, the revenue value of Minecraft's absolutely incredible. But Destiny reached probably how many millions of players have played Destiny? There's probably been like maybe a combined total of 20 over both games, maybe.
It might be.
I'm just guessing.
Which is weird because Sea of Thieves is actually larger than that somehow. And it's not even looked at as being on that level. And Sea of Thieves is a huge, live service game. But I guess with Activision Blizzard, Xbox also got all those studios that are known to crank out games. There is no question they know how to deliver a game on time. Now, has Call of Duty kind of, went downhill a bit in their single player stuff? They come out with them every single year. It's bound to get fatigue on that. Yeah. But the studios that they have, they can make games. They know how to make games, and they know how to crank out games. So when we talk, this goes back to organic growth and all that stuff. If you make a new studio, are they going to be able to crank out games like these studios do, like Treyarch does?
Oh, if you build one from the ground up or start one up,
that's going to cost you a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
So it might be easier just purchase somebody that's already known to churn out games like a machine. And
it took the initiative like 2 years to build up the staff to sit down and whiteboard and concept what would become Perfect Dark. And now they're finally talking about bringing in their contractor, which is Crystal Dynamics, to build that game. Oh my gosh, I cannot.
Costs a lot of money.
Hear something about that.
A lot of time and a lot of money put into that for sure. And that might be one of the reasons they might be seeing what is going on there. Not saying it's a bad situation. They're getting there. It's just taking a long time. Yeah. You need this content on Game Pass. Game Pass has been doing great third-party deals the first half of this year. Stalker got delayed. They need games throughout the year. Needs a good cadence of releases of exclusive content throughout the year. Not just October, November. Times have changed. We're not selling games. We're not just selling games anymore. They're selling a service. That would be like Netflix saying, we're going to bring out all our movies in October, November. Please stay subscribed the whole year.
That's so true. Yeah. We don't think about that because Game Pass is such a great value. Here's us doing our commercial, right? Game Pass is such a great value that I would never unsub, or I bought a whole year, so I'll just write it out. But you're right, Stallion, because last year, the first 3 months were pretty rough on Xbox. But once you got into Outriders, there was something every 2 weeks or something almost every week. For the rest of the year, I was playing. I played a bunch of those games that aren't really massive that were awesome. Art of Rally, The Ascent, the Outriders, which Randall Thor and I cranked through Outriders for quite a while. But there was a bunch of games that I played on Game Pass. They have to have stuff.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's no filling gaps. I talk about this, and people are like, they fill in the gaps with third-party games. There needs to be no gaps. There are no gaps, right?
Yeah,
and they've secured no gaps with these teams they have now that know how to crank out games, and the IPs they have now. They can have these teams. They can have Toys for Bob. Maybe that Toys for Bob makes a Banjo-Kazooie game, and then they just have this diverse lineup now throughout the year. It doesn't need to be all first-person shooters, but they just need to have games with a cadence that come out, a new exclusive game maybe every 2-3 months. With the teams they have now, they can do this. They can definitely do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta say, in the title of this podcast today, in the very middle, it says Xbox is not done. These are words from Satya Nadella and Phil Spencer in the press briefings and them talking to the media that they just bought. For those of you who are wondering about acquisition, I'll give you a bit of insight of what's going on before we move on. Xbox right now is very laser focused on securing the deal for Activision Blizzard. And if you want to know about the legal details and some of the expert stuff, check out my last show with Brad Sams and Hogue from Hogue Law. And he talks, he sheds quite a bit of light on how that deal's working out. But right now they're head down, making sure that nothing gets thrown in the gears for that deal not to happen. So they need to make sure that happens. But what we're going to start hearing about really soon is not studio purchases, but third-party IPs and franchises being built for Xbox like they did last generation, the generation before. So we'll get into those in a little bit. I got to give a shout out to over almost 1,400 people who are watching the show on XNC Podcast. I'm here with Stallion83 and General MLD, and I got a couple of supers to grab here. We got Kylo Co. Thank you so much for the $5. He says, how hilarious would it be if Sony makes Bungie to work on a new Killzone to take on Halo Infinite? It really comes full circle.
That'd be weird. But
they finally got the Halo killer by the Halo team.
I mean, Insomniac's busy, but somebody needs to do Resistance, and that's an Insomniac thing. I think Resistance is better than Killzone, according to most fans. But Yodani Kazada with the $5 super says, loose lips, Jimmy, says, we believe in He looks at Phil Spencer's notes. A great, an expansive world where we can all play together. So it's got kind of a nice riff on such a change. Like 3 years ago, we talked about PlayStation possibly changing the way they look at exclusives, and here we are. The code always wins. Thank you so much for the $5. Says, I'm here playing my PS2 Retro Arc on the Series S. Laugh out loud. What a console. What's a console anyway? Yeah, it's just a device where you play tons and tons of games. RJ pays again with a $10. Thank you, buddy. Says, thanks. Sounds like Sony bought Bungie for their... Oh, I did catch this one before. I got it. Hold on. Let me get back into... Instead of reading it twice. For Havoc with a $1.99 says, ecosystems in Microsoft are growing gaming. There is such a big growth. JR Music, thank you with a $5 says, here's a thought. Microsoft wants Game Pass on all and any devices. Do you see a future where Project Spartacus is on Xbox and Game Pass is on PlayStation? MLD, explain to the good people why full Xbox Game Pass won't go on to PlayStation 5.
I think it's a few things. Number one, I think Sony might be too proud. They don't want anything to get in the way of their own revenue stream. It wouldn't look good if Game Pass is bringing in more gamers than their own Project Spartacus. I mean, apparently Phil Spencer's been trying to do it for a while now, and they're saying no this whole time. I mean, I don't see them changing their mind in the future. I mean, look how guarded Nintendo is. Like, I feel like Sony, they're not as guarded, but in the end, I think they just want to look after their own stuff. They don't want the competition on their own platform. That'd be way too invasive in their opinion. So
it can't go either way. That's a good point. Like, because Game Pass would be massive on PlayStation, and then PlayStation games on Xbox would kind of ruin. That's so weird. Yeah. What do you think, Stallion? Like, is this part of the metaverse where you get our services, we get yours, and everyone's happy?
I mean, what would that look like, though? Because it would be just the first party stuff that's in Game Pass, or the first party stuff that's in Spartacus. Because it'd kind of be weird if you had Game Pass on PlayStation that's got all the third party stuff as well. And you're not buying it on the PlayStation; you're just getting that service. So what would that even look like? And would it be would it be native? They would have to make Halo for PlayStation. These are tons of hurdles. How would you do this? If it's just cloud, that's kind of easier. But if we're talking about native, you're gonna have to make Halo, Forza. You're gonna have to port those to PlayStation for that to work. If a PlayStation user is gonna download them, and the same thing for if Spartacus was on Xbox, how does that work? That seems like it doesn't seem feasible. It doesn't seem like it would work unless it's just streaming.
Yeah, it would have to be just xCloud. And even then, it'd be a double-edged sword because a lot of gamers, they still don't want to stream. They want to play the game natively.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't blame them. It's not there. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah, you guys nailed it because I talked about this last week. Because you said it so perfectly. There's no way that Playground Games is going to sit down and say, okay, our games are going on PlayStation, so we need to put the team to work on porting Horizon 5, Horizon 4, and whatever we have going on for Fable, right? It'd be nuts. Right. And you're right, MLD, like expecting them to play it cloud-based would not work. And the other thing, what you started to say at the very beginning, MLD, was that they wouldn't have a version where you had Game Pass, but all the first-party Xbox games just didn't exist there. Because that wouldn't make any sense because normal consumers aren't like us in the chat here. Like the chat and we know everything about the industry. Like we're keyed in on every game, right? But your average person would load up and go, wait a minute, where's that? Isn't that Forza game supposed to be here? Like I want to drive around in Mexico and that's not on the PlayStation version. Like it goes against everything that Xbox stands for. So
it's kind of like how EA Play on PlayStation, it kind of has a bit of a lesser library because they don't support the BC games on EA Play.
Yeah, there's tons there.
Yeah.
Half of EA Play is back compat.
It's much better.
Yeah. But that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a mess. So rest assured that Game Pass won't push over on a PlayStation. I mean, whatever, right? Shout out to Assassin Lupa, who's been a member of the channel for 21 months. She has the new Cortana badge that I just drew up a few days ago. I gotta say, Assassin Lupa.
Cortana movie? Is that the one? Did you get that one?
I just made the new Cortana, and then like 2 days later, we're gonna talk about Cortana. The other Cortana in a few minutes here, but I got to just give a shout out to Assassin Lupa. She's been a great friend, channel member for a while. Lupa, if you're watching, I think you are. I'm wearing the Burgle shirt. Thanks to her, I was about ready to give up on ground, and she talked my ear off on Xbox chat one night in party chat, and she explained. I say talk my ear off in the best way possible. She explained in detail all of the deep intricacies of this game, and the light came on. I'm like, oh my gosh, this game's massive. I took all of this knowledge she's crammed in my brain, took it to my kids, and we've had so much fun. Ground has been like my game of the year so far. It's absolutely amazing. Shout out to Burgle, the robot that gives you quests in the games. But shout out to Assassin Lupa. She says, great discussion. Colt, thumbs up. Grounded for the win. Hit that like, guys. Says, yes, please hit the like. When you find a game you love, for like Stallion, he's loving that crappy port of GTA San Andreas, and he's having a freaking time of his life, and that makes me happy. So let's see. I got Jedi Knight Peter with the Australian $10. Thank you so much, Jedi Knight Peter, for being on the show every week. You're amazing. He says, do you think Sony overpaid for Bungie, considering they only have one established IP, especially when you consider Xbox got Bethesda for Doom, Elder Scrolls, Fallout. He doesn't say this, but Starfield, Prey, like it goes on and on. It's when you two were talking about, did they, what did they get for 3.6 billion or whatever the number was? You guys have it memorized. Like they got Destiny and Matter. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So Destiny and potential next game, but
yeah,
they have their pedigree. They have, they are known to make amazing first-person shooters. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of based on potential.
Yeah, the credibility right now.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I know that half the community bags on Destiny and where Bungie is right now, and I'm kind of half with you on that, right? But when you think, because you guys set it up so well earlier in the show, just the promise that Bungie says we're going to sit down with your team and help you build a great, fully functioning matchmaking, great netcode, competitive or cooperative multiplayer experience in your own game. Like, even if that's the only thing they do is help PlayStation Studios deliver an amazing online game, it'll be worth that money. I mean, that's talent you're paying for.
You said a key word there too, matchmaking. They invented matchmaking. Games aren't what they are today. Online games aren't what they are today without Bungie doing what they did with Halo.
Yeah, Halo 2. Yeah.
Do they have a name for? I thought there was like a name for that matchmaking proprietary. I can't remember.
True Skill, or is that Xbox's thing?
That sounds familiar. But it's so funny when we think about Master Chief Collection from 343, and matchmaking was not
a good thing. No, they needed Bungie back. They really needed Bungie back at that time. 343 is doing good. 343 is doing great right now with Halo, but it started out pretty rocky. And yeah, like you said, the Master Chief Collection, that was a struggle bus for a minute, but now that it's great. It's a great service game, I would say.
Yeah, and they're gonna keep making it better and better. It's good that they're back from Christmas break and they're ironing out stuff that people really complained about. Shaz, too sick for you with the $2 Thank you. Shaz says consoles not holding back the growth. His example is Steam Deck. Oh, that is an interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because I kind of thought when I say our consoles holding back, like there's only so many people that buy consoles, and like Jez Corden from Windows Central wrote a great article about how there are really only 250 million consoles. Like at any given time, like you've got the Switch, the current PlayStation, and the Xbox, and the people that are on them, you have about 250 million, and then there's like 250 million people on Steam. So like they keep cranking out consoles, but it only that platform only grows so big. So Steam Deck, playing on your browser. Will you guys ever try playing Xbox on your smart TV through an app?
I'll try it. I'll try it when it's available. I'll definitely try it.
Yep.
I tried xCloud with a couple of games. Like I played Dragon Quest 11 on my TV with Series X, and it played pretty good for what it was. So the potential is there, and it's only going to get better as the years go on.
Yeah,
you did that through the cloud?
Yes.
Did you notice? Did you notice a little bit of lag?
There was a little bit of lag, but again, it depends on the genre. Like a slow-moving game, turn-based game like Dragon Quest 11, like you hardly notice it. And sure, the textures weren't like pristine, but like, hey, it was the full game. It was there. It did look good for what it was.
When you load that up and you can't tell the difference, that's when they've mastered it. That's when they got it. They're not quite there yet. Some games work better than others. Like you said, it's a slow-paced RPG.
Right.
But like an action game, a first-person shooter.
Yeah, I wouldn't play Killer Instinct on it or something like that.
Exactly. It gets a little dicey there, but if it's a slow-paced game or maybe a smaller game, sometimes you can't. Some of the games I've loaded up, I can't tell the difference. Like Streets of Rage. Try out Streets of Rage.
Oh yeah.
You can't tell. You can't even tell you're playing it on the cloud. It's 1-to-1 essentially.
Yeah. Apparently, Minecraft Dungeons is pretty popular streaming. So,
jeez, I played the Ascent on cloud, and I couldn't tell any latency, but the visual quality, the bit rate quality was so low. For those of you who are not like into the tech of streaming stuff, the bit rate basically is what makes how much visual information clarity you'll get. So if you're on a lower bit rate, it'll look fuzzy, like I said, a low resolution. But it runs at 1080p, but it looks really chunky. That was my problem with the Ascent. But like I've got good internet, but the connection to you got to go to a route. All that stuff has to be spot on to get like the optimal experience. But they're getting there. They're really getting there. Let's see. We got Beans, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says the Bungie acquisition feels personal. Jim Ryan is mad at Phil, so he bought the studio that makes one of Phil's favorite games. I think he's joking here, but Phil loves Destiny, plays it like crazy. I don't know. You guys got me. You guys got me excited that I don't play mini games on PlayStation, but just knowing that PlayStation bought a team, and most of the reason is to just get their expertise on doing something that Xbox has excelled at for 20 years, makes me happy. I don't know.
They need it. Something they need. Something.
Yeah.
It's a good fit. I think a lot of people will be like, Xbox. If you're an Xbox fan, you're gonna hate this. But who else was gonna? If Xbox didn't buy them, who else was gonna buy them?
Amazon. I have something else.
Yeah,
I have something else that
I didn't want that.
Right. I have something else that might make Xbox guys mad, but we got to talk about it. This is a total change of course, and I'm sure the Supers will get us back on course to the other subject. But Games with Gold, Stelly's gonna love this one. Games with Gold was announced, and the games are absolutely right.
Yeah,
Stallion, I want to talk to you about this because you and I kind of have the same outlook. We both think it's time for Xbox to kill Games with Gold and hopefully fast track free online multiplayer. Can you give us like your little mini speech on this in the best way possible?
Yeah, it seems like it's time to get rid of gold because, like you said, we want more people to come in, not have to pay to play these games online. That would be great. That would more align with what Xbox is saying and what they're doing, but they still have the service going. The reason they probably still have the service going is a lot of people, they've built up the Xbox Live brand. It's known by more people than probably Game Pass at this point. It's still more known. It's been around for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably, I would say there's, if I had to guess, I would say there's just as many Xbox Live Gold subscribers as Game Pass subscribers. I would say it's pretty close. Maybe there still might be more gold. This is the reason they probably haven't gotten rid of it yet. But I think that will happen in about a year where they charge $9.99 for gold. That's the same price as
if you buy it 1 month at a time. Yeah.
If you buy it 1 month at a time, right, exactly. And that's the same price they charge for Game Pass, not Ultimate, just regular Game Pass. So they're the same price per month if you pay monthly. And it's just something that it's time to get rid of. What's the point of it? What you're paying for with gold it's something that's included in Ultimate as well. So we got to take that in consideration. We're getting charged $15 for gold, for Ultimate because gold is included in that. So if they got rid of gold, what are they going to put in to
I mean, do they have to
make up for the price? Maybe Ubisoft Plus. That would be awesome, right? I mean, I know that's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask. But if they take something away, I feel like they need to give you.
But Game Pass Ultimate gives you PC plus console games, and it also gives you access to all those games on the cloud. So you don't need the games with gold. You don't need the gold perk with it.
So what comes with the gold? What comes with the gold perk is the games with gold. This is what we started talking about. Is the quality of games with gold? It was not the greatest this month, and it hasn't been the greatest in a while. And a lot of people think they're free games.
A couple years now, I haven't downloaded those games at all. So sorry, go ahead.
A lot of people think they're free. I don't understand how they're free if you're paying. It's part of the service. They come with the service, right? So they're not free, and plus, you do not actually own the Xbox One games. If your gold or your Game Pass Ultimate lapses, you do not own those games, but you do own the 360 games and the OG games.
Yeah, until you pay again, right? Yeah.
Right.
They come back to you. MLD, where are you? You want to argue on this one?
Yeah, I got some thoughts on this one. I mean, I
go in, man.
Kind of like you there, where even though they're available every month, I look at them, I'm like, well, even though it's free, I don't want to download it. I don't see myself playing it. So a lot of times I skip it. It's clear they're focusing their whatever budget they got on putting stuff into Game Pass. I do agree. I think online multiplayer should be free. It's pretty ironic. They were the first ones to introduce it. And in theory, they're going to be the only ones in the future to have it free. It's going to be a big PR boost. I think they will take a hit on it, obviously, with the revenue. But I feel like, in my personal opinion, Game Pass has to reach a certain threshold before they can afford to take the hit on the lack of gold. I don't know. I feel like it's just, you guys said it. It's the right thing to do. It goes in line with their core strategy. I feel like they are in a position to take the hit sooner rather than later. it's just, I think it's time. Like, it'll really give Xbox like that much of a PR boost. Like, it'll be the only like core console that can play multiplayer games for free that aren't just free to play. I think that in itself would create a lot of word of mouth, a lot of buzz. If they find some way to just maybe they have to twerk the tier system for Game Pass. They might have to just like kind of do it from the ground up, do proper tiers once gold's not really a factor anymore. Maybe that will be a thing with Ubisoft Plus. Maybe xCloud. I always thought xCloud should be its own thing by itself. Who knows? But I do feel like it's coming up. It should be time.
It is kind of weird. You have to pay $15 just to stream.
Yeah.
Right. When you're saying that, MLD, I'm kind of with Stallion. I'm feeling like that should just be included with being an Xbox customer. Like, because we were talking about earlier, like you could take your stuff where Phil says, I want you to be able to take your stuff wherever you go, right? And then he's at the same time they're saying, well, you have to pay the tier to be able to stream the games. I don't know if licensing comes into the reason why you have to pay. Like maybe whatever game is on Game Pass, there's third party says, look, you can't just play that on whatever screen you want for free. There's got to be you have to pay for it somehow. But I don't know. That's just super weird.
1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
You think it'll take a year?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
in the next year, I don't think there'll be gold. I'll just say that.
I'll line up with that because I'm thinking there's probably about 32. If I had to put a number on it, there's probably 32 million gold users. What do you think, Stallion?
I think it's more than the Game Pass. That's the reason they haven't got rid of it yet. It's a lot of revenue. It's a lot of revenue coming every month. They're trying to get everybody over. It's clear they tried to raise the price last year, and then they went back on that
for 12 hours.
It was really quick, and then they went and they gave everybody that for free. You could play free to play games were actually free to play. They weren't before. They did that. The next step is gold is going to be gone. Then they'll have all this stuff. If they have Game Pass for $9.99, that should include streaming as well. You shouldn't have to pay $15 just to stream. You shouldn't have to get Ultimate.
How about this? And then we'll jump off that topic because like we could kind of go a little bit crazy, but I think you guys are kind of hinting at it. Games with gold can be kind of cool. Like you can grab a couple of games you never would have. You can discover them there, right? So put games with gold into the tier. Just replace that. Like Game Pass Ultimate comes with games with gold, but it's still free to play online, just like it's now free to party chat online. Mm-hmm. So we could be going on something there. Maybe we'll have to talk about that later on. But let me grab some supers that are kind of building up here. Dark CMF, thank you so much for the $5. Says the minute I saw King in the deal, King meaning the mobile company that has Candy Crush, he said, I said to myself, this is brilliant. It pays for itself within 5 years max. And also he says, happy birthday to Gaz. I am going to have to clip that and send it to Gaz, and he's going to rage. Sleeping Vistas, thank you so much for that's an inside joke. Gaz from Game On Daily. One day somebody thought it was his birthday. Now it's every day is his birthday, and he hates it. Sleeping Vistas for the Australian 5. Thank you so much. Says, do you think Matter will go in day and date to Spartacus on console and PC?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think so. Assassin Lupo with the 5 pound super. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if Matter comes out in 3 to 5 years, Spartacus will be up and going. It'll have some other name, PlayStation View or something like that. And
it could be free to play though. If it's a live service game, it could be free to play.
I mean, really good point, Stallion. If Destiny made their next game free to play, it would be huge. It would be so huge. Mm-hmm. Assassin Lupo with the 5 pound super says, is it working, Xbox guys? PS buys, we the gamer wins. Thumbs up. Yes, absolutely. iSilar 18 with a $5. Thank you, iSilar. It's got the death. Oh my gosh, just blanked on his name. The superhero character that Ryan Reynolds plays. Death.
Oh my God. Deadpool. Yeah.
Deadpool.
Wow. I was trying to say Deathloop, Deathstroke.
That took us too long.
You had a stroke
you guys are frying my brain, but he's got the Bob Ross Deadpool picture. He says, Mr. Cole, I'm confused over Spartacus. Isn't it just combining 2 services that have been there forever? I don't know. It might be. Thank you so much to Brett E for the $25 super chat. He says, thank you. He's got the orange one. That's big time. He says, I think Bungie is a response to Bethesda deal. Is it big enough to make a splash for their customers, but cheap enough that they can afford it with their current debt load? And he says, much love, Stallion. So there's this thing about I'll ask you about this. I don't know if you paid attention, MLD, but there was like a quote about the debt pool that PlayStation has. Have you looked into this?
I have seen it. Something like in the low trillions in debt overall. I don't know the validity of this, but yes, I have seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think. Apparently, Microsoft has their own debt too. I mean, I never really took that too seriously. I mean, all corporations have some kind of debt in them. I just think overall, Sony's got money to keep making these purchases. I just don't think they'll ever have enough buying power that Xbox has. I personally don't think it can go much higher than what they just did. I can see 5 billion tops being their ceiling, but I don't see it being much higher than that.
That puts a lot of studios out of reach then. That's probably most of the ones that are left. Capcom, Konami, I don't think they're going for anything less than $3.6 billion, baby, are they? Like, there's no way. You just bought one IP for 3.6. We're not selling you Resident Evil, Monster Hunter. I mean, we can keep going on. Konami ain't doing anything with their franchises, but they're still going to want a lot of money for them at this point.
It seems they're in the habit of only buying individual studios. Only Xbox is buying entire publishers. So they can buy the equivalent of a publisher with a bunch of individual studios like what they did last year. So I think that's what they can do. They can buy as it becomes available.
They're jabbing.
Yeah, exactly.
They are jabbing, but the best part about jabbing with buying a studio here and there, slip jab, that they can go and buy another one in 2 months if they want. Right now, like I kind of try to explain, Microsoft and Xbox are sort of locked down. Like they can't go and put intent to buy like Ubisoft or something crazy, right? Because then the powers that be were like, oh, what's going on here? Because you can buy a couple studios. I think PlayStation put themselves in. They can buy Destiny right now, and they can turn around tomorrow and announce intent to buy another studio, and it still wouldn't raise a ruckus. There is some double standard going on there.
They're going under the radar, while Xbox is actually throwing hooks and uppercuts, and they're just throwing jabs, which is maybe working out to their benefit, but it's all adding up. If you look what they've done the last year, they've probably equivalent to the Bethesda deal, at least with the studios on a studio front, maybe not an IP.
Yeah,
front,
6 or 7 studios this past year. Yeah,
right.
Studio
front, but they didn't get those IPs that Microsoft got, that Xbox got from Bethesda. They didn't get anything close to that.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that like there's this lull right now with Stalker being delayed, and then Crossfire X is coming out in like 10 days, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to land very well. But like once you get into the spring and summer, the games are going to start rolling in. And when you think about all the studios that Xbox is reaching out and working with, like, hey, can you make us this? Hey, we need this type of game, or hey, we like what you have. We're buying that from you. It's insane, bro.
It is going to be, dude, it is going to be a machine. They are going to be a machine in 1 or 2 years. They're going to be cranking out some stuff, because we really haven't seen the fruits of all the studios they've acquired before, besides Psychonauts, but that wasn't exactly.
I mean,
exclusive.
It starts now, right? It starts with Redfall in the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, and then Starfield, and then Forza Motorsport. Like it's
after that,
all the other games they bought, like Dark Tide,
even Obsidian and in Exile. They've come out with games, but they've been multi-plat. They've been on multi-platforms. They're going to be exclusive. What did Phil say? Future Xbox exclusives will be where Game Pass lives, right?
Right.
Something. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but something to that effect.
Yeah.
Are they going to deviate from that, from the Activision thing? We haven't really talked about that much, but do you think what they said almost 1 year ago when they acquired Bethesda, do you think they're going to deviate from that with Call of Duty?
I'm going to ask MLD's opinion because I think Call of Duty is the only questionable factor. MLD, what do you think Phil Spencer's ready to say when they sit him down when it's official and say, what are your intents with Activision and Blizzard games exclusively?
Well, we said it before, like when Xbox bought the Bethesda, you don't pay X amount of $1 billion to keep it on the competition. I feel they're going to do what they've always been doing. You wait out the contracts. If 2022 and the 2023 Call of Duty and 2023 Warzone 2, if those are contractually obligated to be on PlayStation, they're going to do it. And I see no problem with that. But 2024 and on, I mean, come on. Like the 2024 Call of Duty on Game Pass day one, only on Xbox, combined with, as Stallion was saying, the floodgates opening with Bethesda, Obsidian, In Exile, Ninja Theory, all of them are finally getting the fruits of their labor. It's going to be this avalanche that will be impossible to resist. And all the Call of Duty casuals, they will convert. They will convert 100%.
That's what I love to hear, because I agree with you. I don't think the mass majority of Call of Duty players care where they play. If you tell them that in 2025, they're like, oh yeah, this new one, Call of Duty Smorgasbord, that's what it's going to be called. Call of Duty Smorgasbord. Oh yeah, that one's not on PlayStation. That's only on Xbox and PC. They'll go, oh, I'll just play it on my PC, or I'll just go buy a Series S. I mean, they won't even buy a Series X because those games run at 60 frames. Like, they won't even care. They'll just go buy a console. Like, buying an Xbox is no big deal for somebody who buys one game every year. And there are tons of gamers like that, right, MLD, that just buy Call of Duty and maybe play Fortnite and Candy Crush.
You got some guys that only play FIFA. You got the guys that play Apex and Fortnite and Call of Duty, and that is it. Like that may seem strange to us and people in the chat, but a lot of those gamers exist.
And then imagine, like you said, Stallion, imagine once Call of Duty is ready to be exclusive, that Xbox says online multiplayer is free if you're an Xbox Live user. Get yourself an Xbox Live account, sign up, put in your what do you call it, your Microsoft email account, or connect it, and you're there. You can play Call of Duty for free. They'll go buy a $300 Series S, and they'll never have to pay for Xbox Live, and they won't even bat an eye. It'd be amazing. Let me grab some supers there. We got Aquaman with a $5, says Bungie is respected for its shooting mechanics, but hasn't it been lacking? I'm quality storytelling and content, a problem with Activision and without. I always wondered if Activision was part of the reason why I didn't like the story. I hope not. That is kind of an iffy thing. I used to blame Activision for the reason why, unlike MLD, I really liked Halo Reach. And I felt like when you went from Halo Reach straight over to Destiny 2, the story was piecemealed for repeated content, right? That's a good point, Aquaman. Thank you. Bill Rinaldi says with a $5, if Bungie is remaining independent, Xbox could theoretically hire them to make an Xbox exclusive.
It's possible. They're independent.
Oh my gosh, he's right, isn't he?
Like MLB, they could get on the Game Pass day one if they wanted to.
Yeah. It could get interesting. It really kind of throws out, in 2010 era, like the way we argued about exclusivity, I don't even know if we can even have these conversations anymore. Shaz Too Sick for You again with the £2 super chat says, did you know Call of Duty Mobile has 30 million active daily users? Is that freaking true?
30 million daily?
I mean, maybe 30 million total, but I mean, you could be right, but when Phil says they have 2 billion mobile users, maybe he's right. We'll just take it at face value because Call of Duty is huge. 30 million. That's crazy.
That's printing money there. Whew.
I know. I mean, that's what they're doing. Hargy Johnny with the $5. Thank you so much. He says, and he has the Deadpool picture. I said Deadpool this time. Is the big announcement here that we should expect day and date PlayStation games on PC? Love that organic growth. Will Spartacus be announced Wednesday? Why Wednesday? Is Wednesday the state of play?
I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah,
man.
but they confirmed it's just GT7 though. They're not
going to announce that there. No.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we're not trying to be insiders here, but we'll just put in our predictions and say no. I'll say no just because these two guys did, and I don't want to lose. Aluminum 54, thank you for the $1 super chat. It didn't write anything, but also send another $2 one. And if you want to say something, speak up. We love hearing from you. For Havoc says happy birthday, Gas. So just goading people along there. Let's talk about this Halo TV show real quick. Oh man, I don't know who to start with because we've got like some massive Halo fans here. Why don't you guys fight it out?
Go with MLD. He said something about Halo Reach, and I was wondering what he thought about the TV series because of what he said earlier.
To be clear,
MLD.
To be clear, I liked playing Halo Reach and the multiplayer and the campaign. It was just the story because I know I read the books. So that said, the TV show the TV show is not canon. So once you mentally accept that, you can just watch it blindly and just appreciate it for what it is. Mm-hmm. That said, I feel like they could have easily made Cortana a little more blue, just a little bit. I feel like that's
more Smurf-like.
Huh?
More Smurf-like. Give me your reaction because like you're watching this thing on your phone or whatever, and then. Oh yeah, like
first off, the budget looks amazing. The production quality is really, really high, so I'm happy with that. It's not like those like the ones in 2007 when Halo, then they kind of experimented with Halo being a movie. Like the quality
Neil Blanc
in that one was lacking, but now it looks pretty top notch. So I'm really happy with that. What is it? Master Chief. He sounds good. He looks good. He looks on point. A lot of the colony, because Halo is a very vast galaxy of stories to tell. Like hundreds of colonies by humanity. And this seems to be during the Covenant War, just before the fall of Reach, from what I saw from it. The fight scene with Chief and the elites, that was amazing. Like, this isn't bad CG. This is like pretty good CG. Again, the lore.
Some of it looks like real, like practical outfits.
Yes, that too. Like
in a really good way. Yeah.
All right. And last thing, I mean, there's the part that kind of will bother me a little bit. That one female character that was raised by the Covenant. That just like, I know it's not canon, but still, like, the Covenant doesn't raise humans. That's not what the Covenant were
like
about.
Mowgli.
Yeah, it was about genocide. They killed them on sight.
Yeah.
You don't raise a human on high charity, the Covenant capital. Like, come on. But
that story could get real interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe this person was hidden like by one person that raised her, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to make sense with the lore, I can see the Jackals raising her because they're pirates. They only care about money. But if it was elites raising her, that makes no lore sense whatsoever. But again, I'm watching this knowing it's not canon, so I just hope to have some good fun watching this. So far, it looks good for what it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. That gets me excited. You're like, I'm gonna have to go to you for all my lore, like back checking. Stallion, what was your reaction? And are you ready to virtually date Cortana?
That was the one thing of that trailer. I agree with a lot of what MLD said. I mean, he's on point with that. Everything looked great, but Cortana did look a little weird. I think that's what most people focused on, and I have to see more of how she moves around and how she talks and stuff like that. I know it's the voice actor of Cortana, which is great.
Yes,
she's there. Master Chief, he's not Steve Downs, but he sounds good. That was one thing I was worried about too, is how Master Chief would sound. He sounds good. The armor looks great. I thought it might look kind of cheesy, but it does. He's got this walk to him. It looks really cool. It looks dope. It looks almost like the Punisher. You know how the guy, what's his name, John Berthenol? God, what's his name? He was in The Walking Dead. You know what I'm talking? Shane.
Yeah.
He's kind of got his walk, like the walk. He's got that walk down. So it's like this cool walk, and it blew me away the first time I saw just how good visually it looks. They had a little clip on Twitter before the trailer. They just had like this little tiny bit, and I was like, wow, that looks amazing. So I can't wait for. I can't believe it's March. I can't believe it's coming up in just a couple months. Paramount Plus. I don't have Paramount Plus. I'm hoping Game Pass takes care of me. 1 month
gives you a little perk.
1 month perk.
Oh yeah, the
1 month little percolation.
Yeah.
Do you think John Stallion? You think John Master Chief is going to be buff enough? The guy looks very trim.
I mean, the suit does a lot for him.
Yeah, I mean, what do you imagine? Like John, like what Master Chief looks like if he took that off? Like,
I mean, they showed his back, right?
Yeah, with the girl's scars.
Oh yeah,
looked like he had a pretty jacked back. It looked pretty. Was it pretty? I don't know. I can't really remember. It didn't look. He didn't look like he was starving. So I mean, it looked
enough
okay
MREs.
Yeah, it looked okay to me. But
okay,
yeah. I mean, as long as he inside the suit, we're not going to see his face. We can.
What about this?
We already know that.
What about this, Stallion? What do you expect? What do you expect? Is he going to take the helmet off on the show?
No. Oh no. It's not canon. So
MLD?
Well,
is he going to take the helmet off? Is he going to go Mandalorian on us?
I think he will take off the helmet because, I mean, again, it's not canon, so they are going to make certain tweaks. You can't have a TV show without, because again, Mandalorian, he took off his helmet. However brief it was, he did take it off.
I didn't need that in Mandalorian, though.
Huh?
I didn't need or want that in Mandalorian.
I know.
See his face.
I guess it depends on maybe the actor or the writers. Maybe they want to feel like well, how do you say it? They don't want to feel like they're just voicing in the dialogue. They want to be able to see themselves on the screen. Maybe that if they do it right, maybe. But again, as long as he doesn't get these giant monologues, if he can say what Chief does in the game, he says it's like short to medium level sentences here and there. I think they can make it work. And
what about musical numbers?
Brief. Yeah.
I think we're gonna see an eye. It's the helmet's gonna crack, the shield's gonna crack, and you get to see an eye first. So we'll have
and his eyes like
color eyes. We'll know
his eyes like
Sony
bought Bungie, Cortana.
Cortana looks weird though from first glance. That was my first impressions of Cortana. She just looked kind of weird.
So speak for the people, Stallion. Speak for the people about what's missing from Cortana. Someone who's been a fan for 20 plus years. Like, what'd they get wrong?
Maybe not live. Maybe putting her live action. Maybe it could have been. She could have been digital. I think that might have worked better. She is an AI that pops up in the game, and she doesn't really. She blends in the game differently already. So in the movie, I feel like she should be a hologram of. They can digitally put that in.
Yeah,
she looks like a replicant or something, right?
She
looks like a.
I mean, if they were able to fix Sonic the Hedgehog, I feel like they can make Cortana a little more blue.
That is.
Yeah, but the show
they need to go back. They need to go back and do it. That's right. That's exactly right. She's like the original Sonic.
Yeah.
At this moment,
you don't have to redesign her. Just make her a tinge blue or a little tinge transparent. That's it.
We can be a bit critical because it's not a real. I mean, maybe they modeled her after a real person, which they do typically, and that's what makes a CGI character look realistic. But the first thing that struck me wasn't the lack of blue or the lack of scan lines or cool like digital artifacts. Was her face just looked too small to me. Like the head was shrunk, it seemed like. I don't know if you guys got that impression. It just seemed like this little teeny tiny face.
I gotta go back and see that again.
I mean, I don't even have to go back. I just see, I don't know, chat. Maybe I'm super weird, but like the proportions like just seem like this little tiny miniature face. Little eyes, little nose.
We're nitpicking now for sure. I can't wait to watch it. No, regardless, I think everybody had the same reaction with Cortana. I think everybody had a reaction with Cortana.
So let's talk production values. Like, it's not the game, but what were your impressions? Because
it blew me away. Like, I'm really surprised they put that much budget into making it look the way it does. Like, this is like I watched Forward Unto Dawn, like those straight to movies like when Halo 4 came out, or the one with Locke when Halo 5 came out. Those you can tell were just a little more lacking on the budget. This is like they're all in. Like when Satya said he's all in on gaming, this is all in, because I can definitely see a cross promotional thing going on. As much, I think, because Halo Infinite, it's going to get co-op later this year. It's going to get Forge. It's going to get all these new things. This is going to go hand in hand, just like with Netflix and The Witcher. When the Netflix Witcher came out, Witcher 3 game sales and player counts got a boost. I feel it's going to go hand in hand. And to make a good impression, you got to go all in, like the Witcher TV show did as well.
That was so perfectly said, because I was just coming to that when you were saying that co-op is coming in like June, and this show is going to get people pumped to go back in. I was wondering what was going to motivate me to go back and do co-op with my buddies. Like maybe we'd be busy with other games, but chat, let us know. Type that out there in the chat. What are you thinking about? Are you pumped for the Halo show? You think it's going to get you back in? Because back in the day, my brothers and I would watch Rocky 4, and then afterwards we'd go out on the trampoline and box the crap out of each other's faces with our boxing gloves, because you get pumped after watching a movie like that. So MLD, don't ever watch like Bloodsport with me when we're in person, because it'll be on.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, the Halo show looks good. There was Halo MPD number 2, the TV show, 20 million played. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm excited for that. One of the other things that came up that's kind of funny, we'll talk about for just a second here. The copy and paste thing for Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes.
This has been going on for almost a week now. And I don't like this sort of thing. Like, this kind of irritates me when people make these comparisons, try to downplay a big game that's going to be pretty cool, right? It gets a little irritating, but I have to be honest that the media has done this to other games and Xbox games and other IPs like full force. But when a guy on Twitter says it, my boy J-Rock got thrown around quite a bit. MLD, did you follow copy and paste J-Rock? This guy's I like him because he's funny.
Yes.
But this was not a good situation.
This was a lot like when on Twitter, the user Gandalf, he did the thing with God of War, getting into the boat animation. It got the exact same reaction. And I know that both guys, in the end, they're just having fun, but I know the intent behind it. It's because the narratives online are that they put the best of the best PlayStation developers on this like grand pedestal, that everything they do is like leagues and leagues above everyone else in the industry. All of these things are really trying to say is that they're just as good as Nintendo or Xbox developers. Everyone reuses assets. It's no big deal. It's actually pretty normal in the industry. And in the end, like they're no better because they do that too. That's all the point was. But again, you put everyone on this level, even playing field, and all the fans of that particular camp, they get all uppity because you question their pedestal and what they put on it. So I think it brought that to light, and the reactions, that speaks for itself. But overall, yeah, I don't agree with that narrative myself personally, because again, it's little stuff, it's little things, and everyone does it at the end of the day. So that's what I think. Okay,
that's fair enough. Did you follow this, Stallion? Or did you try to stay, with a 10-foot pole on this one?
I kind of stayed away. I saw the post. I'm pretty sure I saw the God of War one too. You're referring to MLD, but MLD's pretty much nailed it there with everything. I mean, we're going to reuse assets. People are going to reuse assets. PlayStation's going to reuse assets. It's a funny thing to bring up. I don't think everybody should be so mad that maybe he brought it up. I mean, was he bringing it up was it a negative way? Was he just being funny? I don't know the guy's intent.
Both a little bit. I mean, it's a chance to get the PlayStation fans angry,
get them riled up.
It's a way to downplay the game, like, right? MLD. I'm kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, because again, they're really hyped for Horizon. Wait,
absolutely.
As they should be. It looks like it's going to be a really good game. Looks like it's going to be an improvement over the first one in most ways. So they have every right to be happy about that. It's just they don't like it when someone maybe pops the bubble, saying that maybe Guerrilla doesn't do everything from the ground up, that they do, in fact, reuse animations. It kind of pops their narrative. But again, like, everyone does it. It's really normal across the industry, and I guess some people just didn't know that. So,
it is kind of.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about Gears 4 and 5, I mean, there's so many things that you could probably put side by side over and over. Both games are great, but I don't know. Maybe there was this divide between we, the journalists and the media, versus some guy on Twitter where they were like, hey, you can't do that. but yet they were. I just hope he didn't get any terrible messages. I'm pretty sure he did, because when I checked out this tweet, he had over 2.5 million views. Whoa. Over 4,000 quote tweets, and most of the quote tweets, guys, had hundreds of comments. And of course, 90% of them were dragging J-Rock. So my advice is, if you want to join in on this fun, please don't. It's probably not very fun.
Press mute right away.
Well, the animation was good though, so why not keep it?
Yeah.
Yes, and MLD said it really well. This is Horizon is a really quality game, and it looks really great. So trying to find something to nitpick, like me talking about Cortana's face being too small, is psychotic talk, and I'll never do it again. Let's see, we got Hargeet Johnny with the $2 says, "Put Elden Ring in Game Pass. Write the check, Phil." I don't think it's happening, but write the check, Phil.
Keep dreaming.
Yeah, I think that I think they're going to eke out as much from initial sales. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Maybe the holidays. Maybe.
Yeah. iSiler18 with a $5 thank you says, the Puddlegate debacle from Spider-Man has to be the funniest still. Yeah, that Puddlegate was pretty messy. One of my buddies got into that mix pretty good, and I watched him fight his way out of a gunny sack on that one. So the last bit here we have, we are just over, but the Xbox is working on a Monster Hunter game and Blizzard on a survival game. Are you guys into these genres at all? It could be kind of niche. Stallion, Monster Hunter and a survival game. Is that your bag?
I've only played a little bit of Monster Hunter. It was on Game Pass for a bit, and that's when I played it. I don't think I actually own it, and I've never played Monster Hunter before. It's Monster Hunter World, right? Mm-hmm. Monster Hunter World is the game. Okay. Yeah, I played a little bit of that. I can see why people like it. It's not really my jam, but I can understand why Xbox wants a clone of that game, because it is super, super popular, and it's a really cool game to play with friends. It's another live service game. I think I saw a quote where they couldn't afford it to be on Game Pass, but it's already been on Game Pass. Maybe I misread the quote.
No, you're right. Jeff Grubb was talking. He was in a podcast like we are, and he was talking off the top of his head. And I quoted him in a video I did where he said maybe they couldn't afford to put it on Game Pass, and a lot of people said it was on Game Pass, but sometimes you forget what was there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know how much that cost them to put on there, but it was on there for at least a year. So they got to run with it. So that means it was very popular. They got to test it and see, and then they're like, well, maybe we'll make a game around that. Why not? That was a good test to maybe put a lot of money into something just like it. So I can only see a win-win there, because they've seen the numbers. Why not invest in that?
Yeah. Well, MLD, what about you? Are you interested in a survival game?
I'm actually.
Do you even play those? There aren't many.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been getting into survival games recently. Like, I did try Grounded when it was first out. I found that really promising. I decided to step back from that and wait till it's like completed, like Grounded 1.0. But I do like the idea of the survival games, especially from Blizzard. Like, they're known for making this like these fantastical universes. So integrating a survival kind of experience into that, possibly with co-op, because I think the concept art kind of assumed it would be some kind of social elements. I'm definitely open to that, because it's variety. That's what Xbox is trying to do. They're trying to do all these genres at the same time, and that's fantastic. Everyone has their preferences. As far as Monster Hunter clone goes, I'm not particularly. I haven't played those games too much, but again, like Stallion said, it's a very big genre. If Xbox can get a piece of that, all the better. Because Game Pass is all about, like, bringing people together, multiplayer, social stuff. I think it'll be a good fit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you have all these genres, right, and if Monster Hunter fills the void of what's in there, like you need fighting games which they're missing. That's a pretty good point. I have a couple friends that are really into Monster Hunter. One of my friends played them on all the platforms, played them on Nintendo, and a few years ago, like he couldn't get enough of them. So, but I tried them and just, I don't know, they're just different, I guess. But yeah, that's crazy. But thank you so much. There's over 1,000 people watching here on the XNC podcast. We are going to get out of here. It's been a long night. The chat's been incredible. There's been a couple interesting comments, and thank you so much for the supers. One last one before we head out is from Brett Bingham. Thank you for the $5. He says, I think Microsoft could get away with buying WB Games, Bando Namco if they could buy 100% of them with less scrutiny once the Activision Blizzard acquisition is finished. So I wouldn't expect to hear anything about acquisition intents from Xbox for another year as they wrap up this deal and make sure everything goes smoothly. But I gotta really give a shout out and give the opportunity for these two gentlemen to brag and really boast about what they're doing and where you can find them. We'll start with General MLD, who is new to the XNC podcast. It's good to have him on here. MLD, tell the people where they can find you, what you're doing, and what's your claim to fame, baby?
All right. Well, this was a great show. Thanks for having me on. Great. Finally, just talking to you like in person like this. This was so much fun. I'm mostly active on Twitter at MLD Ghost. I'm there practically every day, just engaging with the community, both Xbox and just the thrill of a good debate. Yeah.
Gamer. I gotta interrupt you. One of the things I really like about General MLD is his passion. Of course, I see. You keep an all watching eye around the people that you hang around with. He's very respectful. Just gives the straight facts. He doesn't put anybody in a headlock. So, yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, as long as you keep it on the games, you'd be surprised who sticks around or who. Either way, it's fun. It's fun.
I know what you mean.
But gamer tag is Ghost MLD. You're gonna see me just playing certain games there, just hacking away at the old backlog, having a good time there. YouTube channel is General MLD, and I went away for the Xbox One generation, but I am not going anywhere now. Having too much fun.
Awesome, and I'll get both your channels, the Twitch and YouTube channels in the description when I wrap up the show. And Stallion 83, the man with 2.5 million gamer score,
little less, but
2.49999.
We'll go with that. We'll go whatever number you want to throw out. We'll go with that.
All right, tell everybody. Tell them about your Twitch channel. Tell them what you're doing because you're doing a giveaway. You haven't wrapped up your giveaway yet, have you?
Yeah. I've been giving away controllers like crazy recently on my Twitch channel. I've been giving away some premium controllers, Xbox controllers, Forza controllers, the 20th anniversary controllers, all the cool controllers I've been giving away like crazy. My Twitch channel is twitch.tv/Stallion83. I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/Stallion83. YouTube is Stallion83. Xbox gamertag Stallion83. I'll be achieving until the day I die.
Awesome. That's so awesome. So check out. She'll be wrapping up that the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas playthrough. So check that out.
Dying Light too. Dying Light. You guys interested in Dying Light? I'm going to be playing some Dying Light.
That looks really
500
good.
hours. 500 hours plus. I don't give a damn. 500.
You're going to do the 500? I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that. Here, I'm putting this in right now. We got one more super. Let's see. Where is it? Two more. You guys are great. Thank you so much. Chaz too sick for you has two supers for £5 each or one. Here we go. To clarify, Call of Duty Mobile has 240 million active players, 30 million active daily. In my opinion, putting Game Pass on PS gives Sony's hardware relevance, making Xbox obsolete. So he's pushing for them not to do it. So that is a lot of people. I cannot
30
imagine
million
playing.
users.
I can't 30 million a day, but 240 million active players.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
That's why they were 70 billion in Candy Crush, whatever they got going on.
Jeez. If they could put the Candy Crush mini game into Call of Duty while you're respawning, then I'm there. But yeah, thank you so much for checking out the show. Hit the like on your way out. This has been XNC Podcast. Will be on demand on YouTube and on demand for Spotify, Google, Pocket Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next week, and we're out of here.
See you.
See ya.